Hello and welcome everyone for this tutorial on query service in Adobe Experience Platform via aepp. This tutorial is for the aepp Python wrapper, and as a disclaimer, I'm doing this as a personal project, so this may not do all of the elements that are official around Adobe Experience Platform. This is really focused on aepp. At the same time, I'm trying to give you an overview of the different services in Adobe Experience Platform. So I may give you an overview of what they are used for and what is their intended purpose. But I may omit or oversimplify some elements in order for better explanation. And I may misrepresent the content of the Adobe Experience Platform. So that's about the disclaimer, and now let's go dive in and the overview of query service. So query service in Adobe Experience Platform is the capability to use SQL and Spark function on data lake. The default setup is allowing to read the data in the data lake, and it has additional capability available if you have the license called Data Distiller to create new datasets out of existing dataset. It's only accessing the Adobe Experience Platform aepp data lake. As you can see, it's only accessing this data lake and not the UPS and UIS services. And the query can be templatized, and probably missing here, it can be also scheduled. The aepp capability on query service are very straightforward. You can actually see the log of the query. You can actually templatize your query. You can schedule the query. Most of the things now are able to be done via the UI interface. That this allows you to scale this implementation and run the query as you wish via the service. However, all of the query that you run through the official Adobe Experience Platform APIs are just to create a dataset or to run. So you cannot return the result from the query service API. It's just to schedule or create queries that will enable a new dataset or modify a new dataset or insert into the dataset. It is possible to be interactive with query service the same way that query service allow interactive usage via API on the Postgres server, and we're going to see that it's called the different classes interactive query that you can use, and we're going to dive into this in a moment. For the UI view, query service is placed in the data management service and is done on the query here. You can actually create a query here. You could also schedule the query. As you can see, we don't have any query. You can create one, and you can also templatize one around here as well. And you can actually, then use parameterize function to run those queries based on parameters that you have defined. Now that we have seen the UI interface, we're going to dive directly into the aepp setup. So as usual, I'm going to go into the aepp training videos. I have the aepp demo configuration that we have set up in one of the first videos. And I'm going to go here as a Windows machine and then right click with the Shift tab and open in terminal here. And I can type then Jupyter Lab. This will open to me a panel for Jupyter interface. And here you can see my different notebook that I already created for catalog, for schema, and the configuration demo. And now I want to create one for query service. So I'm going to start one, and I'm going to rename that as query service demo. I'm going to import aepp. And from aepp, the service itself, I'm going to use query service. Then, as usual, I'm going to load my configuration, so I can type import, and then the tab function, the tab method, will allow you to autocomplete. And it's going to be, it's going to be my configuration file. It's called aepp demo.json. I can override this sandbox default configuration, which is prod. I don't need to do this because if you have watched my video, my configuration default is going to prod, but I just want to show you this capability. And then I want to save that in an instance. So my instance, my variable will be named prod, and I'm going to save that. As usual, I can check this. This is a connect object class here, sandbox. It doesn't have any token yet. This is the client I'm going to use, and so forth. To delete the cells, again, you can do double D. And now I can write at the top that this is the setup. And we're going to deep dive here into pushing that into Markdown. And then this is going to be a query service API. Shift Enter, sorry, is going to open a new tab below. If you do Control Enter, it's just going to run the cell itself. So I used to call query service like this. This is query service. As usual, you have a class that have the same name than the module name. So this is the case for most of the module. We're going to see some exception over there, but overall, this is the module. The query service module, and the query service module has the class query service. I can pass the configuration here, typing config equal my production environment. This is the configuration I've loaded now. So I'm going to do that. In query service, then I can actually, you see the different method, cancel query. I can create an accelerated query, which are queries you can use on top of aggregated views that you have on Adobe Experience Platform. I do not have good experience with that, so I will not go into that, but there is documentation around this. As I said, you can create schedule, disable a schedule query, enable a schedule query. You can actually get the queries. You can actually get the queries that have been run on your machine. I don't know if on your sandbox. So here you can see there have been some insert into queries that have been enabled, and you can see all of those directly. You can also get the templates that are available. You can get the schedule. You can see which run have been experienced, and then from the run you can see if the runs have failed. So that could be interesting for you. And you can see also the dataset statistic in here that you need a dataset ID for it. This is also available. Some of the statistics are also available from the catalog. This is one of my previous video that you can see the size of the dataset and the number of profile record it contains, and so forth. The number of record as well. Watch the video on the catalog to see that in place. So that is very interesting, but as I was explaining, if you use a query service, create a query, for example, this will not return you anything. It will just create a query in the interface, and in the end, it will most of the time be used to create a new dataset. This is only possible via the data distiller license. And this is not the default license that you have in Adobe Experience Platform. It's a license that you need to pay on top of the TCDP license. For the B2C availability. So it may be quite restricted to use aepp with query service at the first glance. However, we have a capability that exists in Adobe Experience Platform for an aepp for doing interactive query. As you can see, we can click here on the UI in Create Query. And here you can actually do a select star from, and let's get the dataset name, table name that you can get. So I show you on the catalog video how you can see the table name directly, but here we're going to use the UI version of this because I don't want to mix up so much the different API services, but of course you can do that. So you see that this table name is like this, and let's do from here, and let's do a limit 10. I'm going to run that, and then you're going to see the result. And this is the kind of query you may want to have in order to check and create a sample of your data for some analysis and so forth. So you can see here is the timestamp is one of the first parameters. Then there's the device. Then there are the environment and the implementation details. So all of that can be done directly in the UI interface, but it would be interesting you can download some of them. And you see that's the problem, is that you cannot really download. So now you can view the results in a better way. Here you can try to copy some of the line like this, but it's not really helpful in a way that you can really make use of it if you want to do analysis, some distribution, especially when you start to do group by and everything. And run one query from another and see the difference. Then it's getting a bit complicated to do that here directly in this environment. So you have several connector that you can have in order to run those queries also in the terminal. There is a documentation in Experience League about that. If you look in query service, I don't have actually aepp for this, and hopefully this works without me needing to log in again. SQL. So you have a reference for the different queries that you can run, and you can see the query service APIs that you can run. And you also have a frequently asked question. You will see the best practice on how you can actually do the query execution and so on. What I wanted to show you in aepp is that you have also the capability to run interactive query in aepp. And this is something, I think, one of the killer app with the different manager I was showing you before, that is available to you by using aepp. So you see that there is a note about query service. You can see note below for interactive query, and it's actually two classes that are existing in query service module: interactive query and interactive query 2. Those are based on the Postgres SQL module and the Psycop G2, sorry, for running. So the 2 for interactive query 2 and PostgreSQL for interactive query. From my experience, I've worked with both, obviously, and I've seen that Psycop G2 is most up to date, and I would recommend you to use interactive query 2. However, which way you're going, the same. They have actually the same method defined in both of those classes and instances, of course. Therefore, you will have the same experience normally. Sometimes I'm seeing that interactive query doesn't have, it require a bit more complexity to load and to install than this one. And also sometimes they are running some errors here due to different way of connecting to the databases and so on. So in order to use interactive query or interactive query 2, you need to have those modules installed. So you need to create a new terminal. So here, a new terminal, and you can do pip install. Actually, you can do upgrade copy 2, I think was the name. Let me check exactly what it looks like. Say copy G2, yeah, exactly. So I can run that and upgrade that up. And now I have it installed. I mean, I already thought I had installed before, but that is a requirement before you run the following command that I'm going to show you. So now what I need to do is actually look at the connection, and I'm going to save that in a variable. And this connection is going to give me the different technical account username and different databases that we can run through interactive query. We can run in the prod all, which is a default database name, or we have CGA, or the accelerated queries, the backup of the accelerated queries. You can see all of those and the token that you can actually use for this. Those are only available, I think, for 10 minutes time frame, so you need to be fairly fast about it. And once you have saved that in a variable, you can actually use I call it EQS for interactive query. You can use query service now and dot interactive query. So you have all of your one or the two. I will use the two as I just update with the latest Psycho thing. And then here I can actually run that, and now it's going to connect me directly to the Postgres database service of Adobe Experience Platform, and I can run queries. So I'm going to do data one and do exactly the same thing that I going to I did before in the UI interface. So now in IQS, I can do the following things. I can add a query, and I can here pass a SQL statement and output the way I want to have. Most of the time you want to keep it as a normal data frame, but maybe for more advanced user, you can want to have the instance of the query object that is being extracted from Psycho G2. So here in the example, I'm going to do select, I don't know what it is, like from, let's have a look again on the queries, data analyst event, limit 10, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to show that. And this is going to return me a data frame, and which is very interesting because now you can do all of the operation you would like to do with data frame. And of course, you can extend the limit and everything. So that's a very interesting aspect of IPP that I think many people like about it. The cool thing about the query, just some tips, you can actually define, obviously, the elements. But for example, if I want to have everything in environment, and let me make sure I have actually environment correctly set up, then I can actually do that. And the same EMEA consulting, which is my thing, and then you can do that, and that automatically explodes the object. So I can run that now again. It just went up again. Sorry. Not because it's running up. And now you see that we have extended the environment by the domain type. You see browser details are nested elements inside, so we could actually even do more of that. An operating system, IPv3, all of the things, and you see all of the different. The MEA consulting actually has a data analyst object. We can actually do the same data analyst. And now you see that I have all of the things and of my data analyst object, and you see the post title, the XDM post I created on my blog about the schema design, then going beyond schema understanding with the APP. So here we're explaining the schema manager and so on. So this is one of the things that you may want to do to explode the object itself. You can do this kind of queries. So this is very, I think, helpful for anyone that were not aware of this capability to use interactive query directly in your notebook. Now, I don't need now to be connected to Adobe Experience Platform in order to load or to extract data directly in my machine. I can save that. If you want to explode the limit here, you can do more, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000. You can increase the limit of your output and use that if you want to do some data analysis of your data set on the data lake only. There is this capability, I explain it in the catalog as well, this capability to have the profile snapshot, which is a snapshot of the UPS that is done on a daily basis. It won't be the exact replica of UPS because of streaming information going in and real-time segmentation happening. So there will be some discrepancy between the snapshot and what is really in UPS, but I think it's the closest one, especially for batch segmentation analysis. This is what you can use on a daily and regular basis to analyze your different segmentation and understand your UPS build, your UPS database build. I think and I hope this was helpful to you, and I'll see you on the next video when I plan another feature of Adobe Experience Platform and IPP.